The scarlet macaw Macaw, also called the red and yellow macaw, red and blue macaw or red-breasted macaw, is a large yellow, red and blue neotropical parrot native to humid evergreen forests of the Americas. Its range extends from southeastern Mexico to Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Bolivia, Venezuela, Honduras, and Brazil in lowlands of 500 meters, 1,600 feet, at least formerly up to 1,000 meters, 3,300 feet. The Caribbean island of Trinidad, as well as the Pacific island of formerly, the northern extent of its range included southern Tamaulipas. In some areas, it has suffered local extinction because of habitat destruction or capture for the parrot trade, but in other areas, it remains fairly common. It is the national bird of Honduras. Like its relative, the blue and yellow macaw, the scarlet macaw is a popular bird in aviculture as a result of its striking plumage. It is the third most common macaw species in captivity after the blue and gold and green-winged macaw respectively. In recent years, it has become much rarer in captivity and much more expensive due to stricter laws, its price being higher than even red and green macaw. Taxonomized scarlet macaw was formally described by the Swedish naturalist Carl Linnaeus in 1758 in the 10th edition of his Systema Naturae under the binomial name Psittacus macaw. 3. The scarlet macaw is now placed in the genus Arale Speed, 1799, one of 6 genera of Central and South American macaws. 4. The 2 subspecies can be recognized by size and color detail in the feathers on the wings. For Era, Macaw Linnaeus, 1758. South American scarlet macaw, the nominate subspecies. In the wings, the medium and secondary coverts have green tips. Of M. Cyanopterus Wiedenfeld, 1995. North Central American scarlet macaw. The Central American scarlet macaw is larger and has blue on its wings instead of green. Genetics in May 2013, it was announced that a team of scientists, led by Dr. Christopher M. Seabury and Dr. Ian Tizard of Texas A&M University had sequenced the complete genome of the scarlet macaw. 5-6, based on this genome, species-specific microsatellite genetic markers were developed to aid genetic studies throughout the range of the species. 7 these genetic markers were later validated 8 on the trace amount of DNA acquired from feathers and applied to study red and green because in a tropical landscape where DNA can degrade very quickly. 9. These markers were proven to be useful to study their population genetics, and identification of individuals in the landscape of the Peruvian Amazon. 10. Description: it is about 84 centimeters 33 in long, of which more than half is the pointed, graduated tail typical of all macaws, though the scarlet macaw has a larger percentage of tail than the other large macaws. The average weight is about 1 kilogram to pounds 3 ounces. The plumage is mostly scarlet, but the rump and tail covert feathers are light blue. The greater upper wing coverts are yellow. The upper sides of the flight feathers of the wings are dark blue, as are the ends of the tail feathers, and the undersides of the wing and tail flight feathers are dark red with metallic gold iridescence. Some individuals may have green in the wings. The Central American subspecies is larger and averages 89 centimeters or 35 in length. There is bare white skin around the eye and from there to the bill. Tiny white feathers are contained on the face patch. The upper mandible is mostly pale horn in color and the lower is black. Juveniles have dark eyes. Adults have light yellow eyes. It is frequently confused with the slightly larger green-winged macaw, which has more distinct red lines in the face and no yellow in the wing. Scarlet macaws make very loud, high and sometimes low-pitched, throaty squawks, squeaks, and screams designed to carry many kilometers to call for their groups. The scarlet macaw can live up to 75-11 or even 90-12 years in captivity, although a more typical lifespan is 40 to 50 years. 12-11. Behavior: a typical sighting is of a single bird or a pair flying above the forest canopy, though in some areas flocks can be seen. They often gather at clay licks. 1314. Scarlet macaws communicate primarily through raucous honks. However, vocal communication is highly variable, and captive macaws are known to be adept mimics of human speech. Feeding wild scarlet macaws feed on fruits, nuts, seeds, flowers, and nectar. 15. As with smaller parrot species, there are reports of their consumption of insects, larvae, and snails. However, this seems to be rare for macaws and is not a major component of their diet. 1617. Seeds of Cynodosculus and Schizolobium are thought to be the main sources of protein for nestling scarlet macaws. 16. In Costa Rica's Central Pacific, they have learned to feed on introduced teak trees, Tectona grandis, and almond beech trees. Local non-profit organizations have planted hundreds of those trees along the coastline from the Tarcoles River Basin to Esterillos Beach, which had helped increase the population drastically. The combined efforts and the correct ecotourism also have an important role in the conservation of such majestic birds. Tour companies along the Tarcoles River and its mangroves have bet on the importance of birdwatching as an asset for the growth on its population. Breeding an egg of Macaw, meant while comparatively docile at most times of the year. Scarlet macaws may be formidably aggressive during periods of breeding. Scarlet macaws are monogamous birds, with individuals remaining with one partner throughout their lives. The hen lays 2 or 3 white eggs in a large tree cavity. 18. The female incubates the eggs for about 5 weeks, and the chicks fledge from the nest about 90 days after hatching 19 and leave their parents about a year later. Juveniles reach sexual maturity at 5 years of age. Distribution and habitat: scarlet macaw inhabits primarily humid, lowland subtropical rainforests, open woodlands, river edges, and savannas. In some regions, they are known to periodically visit natural mineral deposits or licks, typically in areas rich in clay and sediment, which the macaws will eat for digestive purposes and to glean vital nutrients, including sodium and calcium. 20. The species' South American range is extensive, spanning much of the Amazon basin and rainforest of the northern half of the continent, extending as far south as Peru, east of the Andes and Bolivia. 1. In Bolivia, it is quite common in the Aquicuana Reserve in the northeastern Beni department near the city of Riberalta, the capital of the Bolivian Amazon region. In southern North and Central America, the species range extends from the Yucatan Peninsula, extreme southeastern Mexico and Belize, and southward through Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua, as well as the island of Coiba. It is seen infrequently on the mainland of Panama, but is known in Costa Rica from isolated regions on the Pacific coast, mainly near the Nicoya Peninsula, Carrara National Park, and Peninsula Diosa. In Florida, United States, scarlet macaws have escaped captivity at various times throughout history, either inadvertently due to hurricanes or other inclement weather events, or being deliberately released by humans. However, there is no evidence to suggest that this population is established and breeding, and may only persist due to continuing releases or escapes. These non-native birds are likely sustained off of deliberate feeding by residents who enjoy seeing them in their yards. 21. 22. The species also occurs as an introduced species in Puerto Rico. A small introduced population exists in Kirkby Stephen, Cumbria, 23 having been introduced to the area around 2010. This population, which includes a number of related blue and yellow macaws, was introduced to the village around 2010. They are trained to fly freely around the area, returning to a conservation center for food and shelter in the evenings. Conservation Institute's habitat of scarlet macaws is also considered to have the greatest latitudinal range for any bird in the genus era, as the estimated maximum territorial range covers 6,700 square kilometers. Nevertheless, the scarlet macaw's habitat is fragmented, and the bird is mostly confined to tiny populations scattered throughout its original range in Middle America. 25. However, As they still occur in large numbers over most of their original range in South America, the species is classified by IUCN as least concern. Its wild population is currently estimated to be between 50,000 and 499,999 individuals. One commercial international trade in this species, including parts and derivatives, is prohibited by the Birds L, listing under CITES Appendix 1 due to poaching for the pet trade. 26. The northern subspecies, M. Cyanopterus, is listed as endangered by the USFWS. 27. The USFWS estimates that only 2,000 to 3,000 birds of the northern subspecies remain in the wild. 28. Aviculture at scarlet macaw is an early example of a parrot breeding in captivity. Captive breeding occurred in northern Mexico at Paquim, also called Casas Grandes, and very likely southwest New Mexico Mimbres Valley in the 11th century. Breeding pens, perches, bones, and eggshell fragments have been uncovered. The straightforward nature of scarlet macaw breeding and the value of their plumes in trade created a market for trade wherein the animals were used in religious rites north to the Colorado Plateau. Region 29. Today, the scarlet macaw is found worldwide in captivity, but is best represented in captivity in the Americas. Captive techniques developed from the pet trade have positively affected wild populations. In areas with low macaws populations, the extra babies that typically die in the nest may be reared by human hands and released into the wild to bolster the population, as has been done by the Tambopata Macaw Project. Their captive diet, egg incubation, assisted hatching, hand rearing, co-parenting, parent rearing, fledgling, maturation, and breeding are well understood within the avicultural community AFA Watchbird magazine. The list of macaws includes 19 species of macaws, including extinct and critically endangered species, and does not include several hypothetical extinct species that have been proposed based on very little evidence. 70 centimeters, 27.5 in long, mostly pale turquoise blue with a large grayish head. It has a long tail and a large bill. It has a yellow, bare eye-ring, and half-moon-shaped lappets bordering the mandible. 100 centimeters, 39 in long. 120 to 140 centimeters, 48 to 50. It is almost entirely blue and has black under the wings. It has a large black beak with bright yellow along the sides of the lower part of the beak and also yellow eye-rings. 70 centimeters, 27.5 in long. Mainly blue, and the head is a slightly paler blue. It has bare pale yellow skin at the base of its beak and orange-yellow eye-rings. It has a large blackish beak. 85 to 90 centimeters, 33 to 36 in long. Mostly green, red on forehead, green and blue wings. 80 to 90 centimeters, 31.5 to 35.5 in long. Mostly blue back and yellow front. Blue chin and green forehead. The upper zone of the bare white skin around each eye extending to the beak is patterned by lines of small dark feathers. 90 centimeters, 36 in long. Mostly red with blue and green wings. The bare white skin around each eye extending to the bill is patterned by lines of small red feathers. 75 to 85 centimeters, 30 to 34 in long. Blue upper parts and mostly yellow lower parts. Blue throat. Areas of pale skin on the sides of the face are covered with lines of small dark blue feathers, with pinkish bare skin at the base of the beak. 1181 to 96 centimeters, 30 to 236 in long. Mostly bright red, with red, yellow, and blue in the wings. There is bare white skin around the each eye extending to the bill. 70 centimeters, 28 in long. Mostly green. Red forehead. 55 to 60 centimeters, 21.5 to 23.5 in long. Mostly green. Red forehead and red patch over the ears, pinkish skin on the face. Red at bend of wings, blue primary wing feathers. 46 centimeters, 18 in long. Mostly green. Chestnut forehead, red at bend of wings. 50 centimeters, 20 in long. Red forehead fading to orange and then to yellow at the nape of the neck. Dark brown bill paler at the tip. Orange face, chin, chest, abdomen, and thighs. upper back mainly brownish red, and the rump and lower back blue, brown, red, and purplish blue wing feathers. Upper surface of the tail was dark red fading to blue at the tip and brownish red. Underneath, 46 centimeters 18 in long, mainly green, burgundy red patch on the belly, blue forehead and upper wings, and a gray tint to the breast. The underwings and undertail are dull yellow. Bare mustard yellow skin covers most of its face. 41 centimeters 16 in long, mostly green with head, flight feathers, and primary coverts blue. The upper tail has a maroon base, a narrow green center, and a blue tip. The undertail and underwing are greenish yellow. The bill is pale grayish horn with a black base. Unlike most other macaws, the facial skin and lores are dark grayish. 40 centimeters 16 in long, mostly green. The upper side of some of the wing feathers are blue, and the underside of the wings are yellowish. The tail tip, crown, and cheeks are bluish, and the tail base and a belly patch are red. The iris is amber. The bare facial skin is yellowish, which may be white in captivity. The beak is all black 38 centimeters 15 in long, mostly green. Yellow band on the back of the neck. Tail feathers have a red at the base fading to greens and blues. Dark brown or black forehead. Pink legs. The beak is dark gray with a paler gray tip 30 centimeters 12 in long. Mostly green with dark or slate blue feathers on the foot. The wings and tail have feathers that are bright green above and olive green below. The leading edges of the wings, especially on the underside, are red. The irises are orange, and the featherless skin on the face is white.